Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of the Multiverse of JavaScript, the interview series. And in this video, I will talk about the most asked interview question, which is the this keyword of JavaScript. Yes, it is most asked and most confusing interview question. So today we will explore every aspect of this keyword. So let's start. And it's my promise, after this video you will not have a single doubt regarding this keyword. Okay,
अभी मजा आएगा ना भिड़ो.
so be with me till the end of this video and let's explore this keyword together. So let's start. So the question is, what is this keyword? What is this keyword in JavaScript? So this keyword is nothing but it's used to represent or used to refer some object, refer an object. But the question is, which object? This keyword in JavaScript will always represent an object, nothing else. As simple as that. Whenever you type console log this, it will use to represent an object, nothing else. But the question is, which object? This is the main question. So we will explore it. So let's just simply first do a console log of this and let's see what will this represent. Okay, so let's do a console.log of this keyword. Okay, if I do a console log of this keyword, so what it will print? Let's see. Let's go to the console. Let's go to the browser and let's see, open up my console and let's see. Yes, see, if you do a console log of this keyword globally, it will represent the window object, as you can see. Now the question is, what is this window object? If you don't know what is this window object, just give me few minutes. I will explain you first this window object and then I will come to again about this keyword. Okay, this window object is provided by this JS engine. This window object is represent our whole browser, the browser window. You see the browser window? This window object is represent our browser window. In this window object, you will find many pre-built function. Let's see, is alert, blur, right? And see, confirm. You use this function many times, right? The alert, confirm, and also you will find see the document function, document.getElement by id, document.getElement by class name. So this document is also part of the window object. Let me show you more. See, on close, on blur, right? All the pre-built function are part of this window object. And if I scroll down more, you can see that, see, the set interval, set timeout is also part of this window object. So every function you use, it is by default part of this window object. So if I go over there and if I write, let's say window dot set timeout, yes, it's also correct. I can write window dot set timeout. I can write window dot document dot get element by id. I can also write, so it's not wrong. If I just come here, if I go to console and write window dot, see, I have all these suggestions of pre-built functions I can use. See, the fetch function is also part of window dot, so I can write window dot fetch, I can write window dot document, I can write window dot set timeout. But as it's a global object, so we don't need to write window dot, we don't need to write it, right? So this is one part. See, all pre-built function is part of this window object and we can write it window dot location, window dot fetch, window dot document, anything we want to write. But usually we write just if you want to access fetch, just we write the fetch function. If you want to use set timeout function, we write set timeout and use that function. We don't need to write window dot as it is a global function. One more thing is that let's say I am declaring a variable. Let's say var a is equal to 10. Okay, I'm writing it. So how can I access, how can I print that value of a? Console.log of a. Simple. If I save it and go to my browser, I can see that 10 is printed. Okay, I can also write window.10. I can also write window.10 because whenever you are declaring a variable, whenever you are declaring a variable with var keyword, remember the things with var keyword, not const and or not let. I will come to the const and let part in later episode, but for now just understand, if you declare variable with var keyword, if you declare variable with var keyword, it's part of the window object. Let's save it and let's see the output. Yep, I can see the 10. So if you write a function, also if you write a function, it will also be part of the window object. Let's see, let's say I'm writing this function. Let's say I'm writing a function, let's say function abc, and I'm doing just simply a console log of abc function, or console log a string. Okay, so if I do this, I can call this function abc like that, right? But this function is also attached with the window object. Okay, so as this function is also attached with the window object, so I can also write window.abc, right? See, the abc is printed. I can also write this. So window is a global object. Whenever we are writing something, this is how it's attached to window. So this is what window is. So basically window represents the global object which have all the pre-built functions which we need for our code. Now come to this keyword. So if I write, as I already told that this keyword is also represent an object. So if I write console.log of this keyword, it will basically represent a window object, nothing else. That's it. But that's not the end. We will explore more about this keyword. So globally, in terms of globally, this keyword is represent the window object. And one more thing, the one more thing is that if I write this dot set timeout, right, it's also valid. I can write this dot set timeout over here. Okay, I can, let's say I have a variable var a is equal to 10, right? I can access this a variable, this dot a also, I can access it, because in globally this represent the window object. By using that window object, if I can access our declared variable and function, we can also access with this keyword as well, because in globally this keyword represent the window object. That's why we can access it. But remember one thing, this is only possible if you are using var keyword. If you are using let and const, it will be not possible. I will explain it in the upcoming videos. Okay, so this is one part of this keyword. We can print the global window object, or we can access the global window object using this keyword. Now this is one part of this keyword. The second part is, if I try to access this keyword using another object which is created by us, what will happen? Let's see. So let's say I'm creating an object const, let's say our object name is student. Okay, I'm creating a student object. Let's name it my name Saurav, and let's give a age property 30. What else? And let's try to add a function. I'm writing a display function which will display the name and age of this property. Let's add this function. Okay, so I'm just for the example, I'm just doing console log of this, and let's try to access this student property, the display property of student. So how can I access the display property of student? I need to write student dot display. Just simply call that function. That's it. So if I do this, so what it will print? Let's see. So the outer is, this is for window, let me comment it out. This is for the global, this. See, so if I try to call display property here, it will print the student object, because this display function, inside this display function, this refers to the student object. Why? Because student object is calling that display function. Because student object is calling that display function, that's why it's represent the student object. Okay, but you will say that yes, sort of display property is a part of student, so that's why it's referring the student object now. But yes, kind of true, but not all time it's true. You will see more cases and you will understand that thing. Okay, so this keyword under display property is represent a student object. But if you see here carefully that I have used here the normal function. What if I used here an arrow function? What happened? If I make it as an arrow function, let's do it. Let's make it as an arrow function. I have made this function to arrow function. If I save it and go to my console, let's see what happened. See. So earlier for normal function it was referring to the student object, but for the arrow function, if I make it as arrow function, it is referring to the window object. Why this is happening? Why? Because listen to me very carefully. For the normal function, the value of this is depend on who is calling, which object is calling that function. For the normal function, the value of this is depends upon the which object is calling that function. But for the arrow function, it's not depend which object is calling that function. It's depend, for the arrow function, it's depend on its outer context. Just listen to me very carefully. For the arrow function, it depends on the outer context. Okay, just let me just do it for, let me just write two function over there. This is, let's say this is display age function, and this is my arrow function. Okay, and let me just call this display age also, display age. Okay, so this is my arrow function, and this is my normal function. Okay, so if I talk about the value of this display function, it will depend on which object is calling that function, because it's a normal arrow function. So who is calling it? The student object is calling him. So that's why the value of this here will be student. Okay, but if I talk about this display age function, which is a arrow function, the value of this over here, it will be window. Because the value of this is not depend on who is calling, it is depend on its outer context. So what is the outer context of this display age? It is not the student. If you see, like, it is a function, so the outer context is the global context for arrow function. So arrow function, so for value of this keyword in arrow function, it depends on its outer context. In outer context, what is the value of this keyword? In outer context, what is the value of this keyword? Yes, it's window. So that's why display age function, it's representing the window. That's simple. Okay, now try to explore it more. So let's just okay, I'm just Okay, so here what I will do, I will write a set timeout. I will write a set timeout. Okay, you will be amazed by knowing this. This is very amazing, and most in interviewer will confuse you by this type of example. So I have write a set timeout over here, and I have given a callback as in set timeout, and let's do a console log of this, and do a and let's write it set timeout callback. What do you think? What will be the value of set timeout over here? Just pause the video and let's just think. So this is a normal function, and under set timeout I have also written the normal function. Okay, no difference, both are normal function. So what will be the value of this over here? So after printing this value of this keyword in normal function, it will run the set timeout. After 3000 milliseconds, means after 3 seconds it will print. So let's go to the console and let's see what the output. Oh, sorry, display age is not a function. Let me remove it. Yes, let's go to, wait for the 3 seconds. Yep, see here, window, right? The set timeout callback console log of this keyword of set timeout, it's print the window object. Why this happened? So this is the mystery of this keyword. It should print the student object now, but no. Because why it's not printing the student object? Because this function is not called by the student. This is the function of the set timeout, and here it's a normal function. Here it is a normal function. So the question is, how can I get the value of student over here? How can I get the value of student over here? So to get the value of the student object in here under the callback of set timeout, you need to just do one thing. If you remember the definition, you just need to make it as a arrow function. That's it. Just let's save it and go to console. Wait for 3000 seconds. Yes, see, the student object is printed. Remember the definition. For the arrow function, the value of this will not depend on who is calling. It will depend on its context, on its outer context, on its parent. So that's why in this case, in set timeout, if I talk about the set timeout, so what is the parent of this callback? What is the parent of this callback function? This function, the parent of this callback function is the display function, this one. So what is the value of this console log over here? The value of this keyword in this here under the display function is student object. So that's why for here, if we use arrow function, so that's why this refer to the same student object. It will not refer to the window object here. But remember, in previous example we have seen that the arrow function, it's referring to the window object, but here it will refer to the student object. So that's the difference. Okay, so if I just, for example, if I do instead of this callback, can I write a simple function, let's say function ABC. We can write like this over here, function ABC, and let's do a console.log of this. Okay, and let's call the function ABC over here. Okay, let's call that function. So what will be the value of this? Just assume what will be the value of this. Yes, it will be window. Let's go to the browser. Yes, it will be window. To get the value of student object, we need to make it as an arrow function. Okay, just make it as an arrow function and let's see the value. Let's reload it. Yes, it is student object. So this is how this keyword work. So I that's why I always call this keyword the remember the character Loki in the Marvel, how he changes character, his shape depending upon the situation. Similarly, this keyword change his value depending upon the situation. It's same like it's this keyword in JavaScript is same like Loki in Marvel. So just give me some few minutes. I will explain you it with more clear example. It will be more clear to you. Okay. Just give me example. I will create a new some new object. Let me first create a function. Let me create a function. Let's say get this. The function name is get this. Okay. And here I will just return this keyword from here. Okay. And let's say I will create two new object. Let's say const obj1, and I will give some name, let's say sort of, and let's say I will create another object. I will create object 2, and I will have some name Gaurav. Okay. Now I will attach this function, this get this function. I will attach this get this function with this two object. How can I attach it? I can write it like obj dot get this equal to, just I will attach get this function over here. Okay. So I am just attaching a key. You can write, instead of get this, you can write whatever you want. You can write anything you want. So obj dot this key value, and I am attaching that function name over here. But don't write parentheses over here, because parentheses is used to invoke that function. Okay. So I can write just same name over here. So I am attaching this function with object 1, and same as well with object 2. Same as well with object 2 I am attaching it. So I have attached this function over here. So if I do a console dot log of, if I do a console dot log of obj dot get this function, because I have attached this key name over here and I'm doing a console log. I'm just calling this function. So this function is already returning this. So the value of this keyword will be printed, right? So if I do this for the obj1, and same for the obj2, same for the obj2. So these two objects will be printed simple. See, Saurav and Gaurav, two object, and see the function also attached with this. So that's why I told you that the value of this keyword in function, it depend on which object is calling that function, right? Which object is calling that function. So here object 1 is calling that get this function, so that's why value is this. Here object 2 is calling that function, so that's why value is this. But if I make this function as an arrow function, then the value of this will be, what will be the value of this keyword if I make it as an arrow? Yes, it will be the window object. See, both are window object, right? Because in the arrow function, the value of this is behave like a closure, right? Closure. So that's why the value, if you don't understand closure, just be with me. In upcoming video I will explain closure as well. Okay. So this keyword is behave like this. But for the normal function, you can think like that you are passing some invisible parameter. If you are using this normal function, you can think that you are passing the value of this like a parameter, right? And it will receive from here and it will use. And one more thing I can give you over here. Let me write a normal, as like a previous example. If I write a normal function, or let me write a set timeout. Let me write a set timeout of 3000 millisecond, and let me make it a normal function. If I do this like a normal function and just let me console log of this keyword over here. Okay, so what will happen? So for the object one, it will first of all return this keyword and it will be printed over here. It will be name Saurabh, right? But what will print over here? Console log this. Will it print the value of object one? No, it will not. What it will print? Because I am inside this get this function, and who is calling this? It is a normal function. Get this function is a normal function, and inside that normal function I am also using a normal function for the callback. So the value of this set timeout callback, it will be the window object. See, I'll just refresh. Yep. For the to return, for this to return, it will print the Saurabh and Gaurav object. Okay, object 1, object 2, and for this to one, and for this set timeout, it is printed the window object after 3000 milliseconds. Okay, but here if I use the but I want to access here as well the object 1 and object 2. What I will do? I will just make it this function as an arrow function. If I use arrow function over here, so I can access the value of object 1 and object 2. See, why this happened? Because the value of the arrow function, this inside arrow function is not depend on who is calling. It is depend on its outer context. What is the value of this keyword in its outer context? Okay, in its parent. So this is the basic concept of this keyword in arrow function, in normal function, and in global concept. So we have studied that this keyword in global context and this keyword as a window object. What is window? We have also studied about little bit about window object, and we have seen that how this keyword works inside normal function and inside arrow function. And in the next video we will see the most important, also one more important question, which is call, apply, bind, which is based on the I need to clear the concept of this keyword before let you know the call, apply, bind, because this is related to call, apply, bind. This keyword concept is related to call, apply, bind. Okay, so I hope I have explained all the concepts. If you have any doubt, you can comment in the comment box, and I will try to resolve your doubt. I will try to solve your doubt. If you like this video, please click on the like button and please share with your friend. And if you are new to this channel, so please subscribe and press the bell icon so that you can get notified to all of my videos. Oh, I forget one thing. I just want to suggest you that go to MDN doc. Sorry, just go to MDN doc of this keyword. Let's MDN this keyword. Just go to MDN doc of this keyword and just read it. You will be amazed by knowing this. You know what? The MDN doc is the best documentation of JavaScript. I always refer this doc. You will find so many things about this keyword. I just explain you one aspect which will help you in interview if you explain like this. But here you will find lots of things using with this keyword with proto, this keyword in class component, sorry, not component, in class, JavaScript class. So you will find all the things and you can understand how more and more of this. So for interview perspective, it's very important to read this MDN doc. Okay, so I will strongly suggest you read this MDN doc always. So just go to I will put the MDN doc link, or you can Google it simply. I don't need to put so just read the MDN doc and you will get to know so many things. Okay, so thank you so much. So let's see you in the next video with call, apply, bind. Until then, happy coding. Bye bye, take care. Tada.